This conference will now be recorded.
In this section, we are going to discuss about dynamic parameters. A dynamic parameter is one in which the content is nothing but a set of allowed values. Here, the content is set of allowed values. It can be a specific name value pair. And these values are subject to change, which may depend on a specific user session. For example, if you consider a banking application, the customer account number could be a dynamic parameter because each customer is usually assigned a unique account number. And this account number is a value which is dynamically generated by the application. And it might be embedded in the web page which has been sent by the user whenever he is performing any online banking transaction. So when it comes to ASM, when you configure a dynamic value parameter, you also have to configure how ASM would actually discover and populate those parameter values. So this is what ASM calls this process as extraction. So extraction properties define basically from where to extract that dynamic parameter value or name in the exact application request. So once ASM discovers a parameter's value this has been set by the application, ASM basically inserts a encoded copy into the ASM cookie, which is then added as a response. And if a user, let's consider a hacker, tries to change the parameter value in a subsequent request, then ASM generates a violation called as illegal dynamic parameter value violation, depending on what is the learn, alarm, and block settings on your learn and blocking settings of the security policy. So when you create an extraction for a dynamic parameter, one of the aspect of extraction is to configure where in the response ASM would search for that dynamic parameter. So it can be the parameters values can be extracted from file types, from URLs, from any regular expressions. So there are several ways in which you can configure the extraction. It it can be as below. Like search in links. So this option can be used if you want to extract the dynamic parameter values from links, which can be like external reference tags which are included in the application response to any requested URL. So in some applications, you might see a specific reference saying http test.com slash say some value, then end a. So in this case, the parameter value is basically sent back to the server when user clicks on a hyperlink. So you have to configure the ASM to search in links, or the other way would be to search in response body. So the response body packet, the HTTP body data which comes from the server, ASM will try to search there to see if there are any dynamic parameters. Or you can configure search entire form. You can use this setting when you want to extract the dynamic parameter values from all parameters in all forms, which can be used in HTML response to a specific requested URL. Or if your application is based on XML, you can also select option as search in XML. So within the XML entities that are part of your response, the parameter value will be extracted. So once an extraction is found in the response, this extracted value for the parameter is basically valid for all future requests for this parameter until the session ends, or maybe the number of extracted values reaches the maximum limit. So basically when it comes to ASM has a specific cookie called as ASM DCV frame cookie. DCV stands for dynamic content value. This frame cookie can hold the parameter name and value pairs. And if you consider what I think starting version 11.4 and later, this DCV frame cookie value can store up to 237 parameter value pairs. Which means that for example, let's say this payment is your parameter. This parameter can have up to 237 values, which can be stored in your this frame cookie. So, or if you say product is a parameter in your application. This product can be equal to toy, or this product can be equal to car. This product can be equal to camera. So, and when the values increase or go beyond this specific value, which is the maximum limit, the old extracted values are basically replaced with the new ones. When I talk about a DCV frame cookie structure, the DCV frame cookie has below format. This is 32 bytes. This is 16 bytes. This is 8 bytes, and then the rest. So signature is nothing but the MD5 hash of this cookie. And message key is a randomized byte sequence which connects this specific cookie with the main ASM cookie. And then you have cookie flag, which controls whether the frame cookie can change any other cookies which are set by the application or not. And then you have the actual parameter datas which have been detected in your application in here. So now let's go ahead and try to perform a lab on protecting our dynamic parameters. So first of all, I'll ensure that the previous policy which I was using lab 12 is assigned to my virtual server. Okay, lab policy is assigned and log profile is also logging all the requests. Then I will ensure that my security policy is in blocking mode. Okay, this policy is in blocking mode. Now, with respect to my application, I'm going to protect a parameter called as nick, which is part of my application. So let's first go ahead and check if there are any learning suggestions with respect to my nick parameter. So I'll go to application security, policy building, and traffic learning page. Okay, I have no specific suggestion to add it. Now, let me go back to my application. In here, let me log into the application. So after logging in, if I click on the control panel section, I'll see in the request that there is a parameter called as nick. This nick has a value of student equal to 60. So I have generated now a request. Let me go back again to my traffic learning page. And in here, I will see that there will be a suggestion for illegal parameter because this is not part of your policy. So I'll select this specific option and click on accept suggestion. So that what happens is this parameter will get added to my security policy. Now, after doing this, I'll just apply the policy. So after applying the policy, I need to ensure that the nick parameter has been added in my security policy. So I'll go to application security, parameters, parameter list. In here, I can see that the payment, the NIC parameter is part of my security policy. Now I have to define that this NIC parameter has to be extracted from where. So in our case, the extraction needs to be performed from .php file type. So therefore, first I need to add the .php file type in my security policy. So in order to do that, again, I'll go to application security, file types, allowed file types. So in here, I have option to click on create. Then
Vinit,
give it
it's
explicit.
Ajit here.
Yeah.
Vinit, if you have the wildcard already allowed in the allowed file types, do we have to explicitly allow the PHP as well? Because wildcard will include the PHP in it, right? Uh,
No, if we have to explicitly define from where, which page are we trying to extract the NIC parameter. So you have to define
okay.
the index page.
So, like, is it for all the parameters we'll have to define something or the other? Like,
Yes, yes.
is it
From
okay?
where we are trying to perform that extraction.
Okay. So it is a mandatory step that we have to define for every parameter.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So after adding, I'll just apply the policy again. After applying the policy, let me just log out from my application. And log in again. After this, if I click on the your control panel, I'm trying to now see the details of student 60. Now let me try to tamper the value of this specific parameter. So from here, let me just change this. Instead of student 60, let me change this to a different value. So even though I have logged in with student 60, I am able to see after performing tampering, I am able to see the details of student 50, which ideally I shouldn't have been. So now what we'll do is we'll try to protect this tampering. We'll try to protect the NIC parameter from being tampered. So in here, I will go to my NIC parameter list. I'll click on this NIC parameter. And then from the parameter value data type, instead of user input, I'll change this to a dynamic content value and click on update. So once you click on update, you will be prompted to define what are the extraction properties. Since this is not yet defined, so you have to define them. So it will ask you, do you want to define them now? You just select OK. So after clicking on OK, in the extracted file types, it will ask you extract from, choose the file types. You will since you have already added, you'll get the PHP option and then click on add. And from URL section, you select this URL section, choose HTTP, and then add index.php and click on add. And this is the extraction method which we were discussing. Where to search in links, search in entire form, or if you click on advanced option, you will have different options as well, where exactly to search the extraction. So for in our case, we'll just keep this as entire form and then click on create. So extraction has been defined. After defining it, just click on update and apply the policy. After applying the policy, let's again log out from the application. And log in again as a valid user. After logging in, just click on your control panel option, wherein you'll be able to see student 60 details. Now in here, I'll try to perform tampering with respect to nick parameter. I'll change this student 60 to student 50 and then click on enter. So I'll be able to see at present again I am able to see the student 50 details. Now let me go back to my event logs corresponding to this request. Let's try to filter out. So the latest request for user underscore menu, we can see that the nick parameter, even though it is defined as dynamic, the latest request did not has been not been marked as illegal. So let's verify this from, but as per our expectation, this should have triggered a violation. So with respect to our policy, we have to check whether in the learning and blocking settings, do we have that violation enabled? So again, let me go to application security, policy building, learning and blocking settings. And from here, I'm going to expand the parameters section. In this parameter section, I will see, do I have illegal dynamic parameter value violation, illegal dynamic parameter value. I don't have learn and block enabled for this specific violation. So let's check the learn and alarm checks for this specific violation. And let's just save this. So I've enabled learn and alarm for this violation, illegal dynamic parameter value, then saved it, and let me apply the policy again. So after applying this, let me again go back to my application, log out from the application, log back in, click on your control panel. So now I'll change student 60 to student 50. I am able to see the details of student 50. Now let me go back to my event logs again and see the request for user underscore menu. It has been marked as illegal. And the violation which is triggered is illegal dynamic parameter value. So it has detected that this parameter value is being tampered. Now, in order to understand why this parameter tampering request did not get blocked, what we would have done. So in our learning and blocking settings, we did not, even though our policy is in blocking mode, we did not enable blocking flag for that violation. That's why my request did not get blocked. So that's all.
Vinith,
Yeah.
Vinith, there could be a case where we have enabled the blocking for the parameter, but we are into staging stage. Like we are just for the complete policy, we are not blocking. We are
Hmm.
into learning. Okay, and but for the parameters, we have blocked. So what will happen in that case?
No, in order for anything to get blocked, first thing you have to check is your policy is in blocking mode, and then
Mm,
at the explicit level, be it file types or
yes.
URLs, those have to be removed from staging. So attack signature has to be removed from staging. Your learn and block flags, the flags which
Mm,
are corresponding to various violations, be it files, be it URLs. So all those has to be enabled. The block flag has to be enabled for the request to get blocked.
okay.
Clear?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So with this, we complete our dynamic parameter value section. We'll just stop it here.